Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And we're going to continue our run through around Major League Baseball. We have just two divisions left, the Western divisions. This time we're going to cover the American League West. Tim, are you ready to go?
Let's run it.
Let's start off with the defending World Series champion, Houston Astros. I don't think people realize just how good they are. People who are stuck in 2017 calling them cheaters, get over yourselves because this team is a
We've been
dynasty.
past that for a while.
Yeah, this team is a dynasty in the making. They just keep getting better. They don't rebuild, they reload, and they're looking to be the class of the American League, not just the AL West, but the American League once again. You lose Justin Verlander, you're able to alleviate that with guys like Framber Valdez and Christian Javier. You bring in Jose Abreu to alleviate Yuli Gurriel, and it doesn't matter. You lose Lance McCullers and Jose Altuve and Michael Brantley to injury, but you look at the Astros' depth and the talent around that team, and you're like, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, this team definitely lost a lot in terms of different pieces like Verlander, like your Yuli Gurriel, and guys like that. But they didn't do a whole lot in terms of trying to get replacements to that, other than obviously the Jose Abreu. They just had guys within their system that essentially they pulled out of the back rooms and they filled into those spots very nicely.
If there's one team that utilizes the back rooms, it would be the Astros.
It would be the Astros, yeah. But no, they just continue to push out talent. And if they can keep those guys healthy, they're going to be set for another very, very solid season because they've got all the experience and a lot of guys on there that can really play some great baseball.
I know this isn't like a predictions video. This is just like an outlook. The Astros are my World Series champions. I think they're going to go back to back, which a team hasn't done in a long time, but Houston definitely has the pieces and the horses to do it.
They do.
The next team we have is the Los Angeles Angels Anaheim of Angels of Anaheim because their team name is way too long and convoluted.
Or also known as La.
Just stick to one market. Either pick the LA market or the Anaheim market. You can't have both.
Have it both ways, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like having Trout and Ohtani and having a good baseball team. You apparently, if you're Artie Moreno and the LA Angels, you can't have both.
Which makes no sense, but
it's not like they're not trying, though, because they did a lot of things in the offseason, and this Angels team is markedly better than it was last year because you get guys like Hunter Renfroe and Gio Urshela and Brandon Drury to cement that lineup, and then you bring in Tyler Anderson to help buffer the pitching staff. The one thing that I'm really worried about is their bullpen. They don't know who they have at closer, and their relievers, quite frankly, just aren't pretty. So if they're going to contend, they need a good bullpen, which is something that they're severely lacking. Ohtani can sign somewhere else next year because he's a free agent.
There's that. I'm heavily considering it because I mean it's just been rough going for the Angels in these last couple of years. They've had pieces, and obviously you talk about they've taken steps forward this year in terms of the guys that they've added, but there's just been something about this organization where they can't seem to figure out how to put the right pieces together. They've gotten pieces and they have pieces, but it's whether or not it's all the right pieces to put together to actually make a cohesive unit. You talk about that relief staff. That just really isn't quite there right now. You can't have Ohtani do literally everything, although they might consider it.
He's not very good at zippers.
But the Angels are definitely moving in the right direction. But the question is how much longer are you going to get the best of Trout, and can you hold on to Ohtani if he starts getting really fed up about what this team really looks like around him?
Which he very well could. The future of the
he hasn't necessarily expressed like a ton from
no,
what at
but
least
that's
I've been
not
able to tell. But that's not his personality.
Character. Yeah, it's not how
he would never.
Yeah, it's not how he goes. But the Angels are going to need to make some changes and put a winning team around their superstars fast, or else their superstars are not going to be with them anymore. The next team we have is the dumpster fire. That is the Oakland Athletics. They're bad. They're very, very bad. Don't let the number of moves they made this offseason.
They made a ton of moves, and it's done like nothing.
Oh, of course it's done nothing. The Athletics. Like half of the 25-man roster for the Athletics are new faces, but outside of Esteury Ruiz, none of them are any good. I like Shintaro Fujinami. I think he has electric stuff, and I think he just needs to figure it out. But some of these transitions over from Japan are a little rough. The thing about the
I feel like it
Athletics,
depends on how much like how fast you get essentially just thrown into the fire. And he's not in an organization where they can really help him along. It's like, have at it. Good luck.
yeah, for real. The thing about the Athletics that I look at is what the fans are doing, like their anti-boycott of Oakland, because it's looking like Oakland's gonna relocate, and then the fans are like, no, we're gonna do a reverse boycott and pack the stadium because the
It's so
stadium
goofy.
has been sadly empty. Like the Athletics and their fans have just been tortured the
I
last
feel
few
bad for just the
years.
city of Oakland. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously you lose the Raiders and you're left with this pathetic organization in the Athletics, who can't seem to give you much of
Yeah.
anything to cheer about, and now you might lose them too, and then you'll be left with basically
Who knows
just
what. I think it's in the best interest of the Athletics if they do relocate, but we'll see what happens there. For the team that they are fielding this season, it's not competitive and it's not going to win.
it's not looking good, that's for sure.
After that, we have the Seattle Mariners, something positive to talk about in the AL West because they broke their streak. They won 90
They
games
did.
last year and clinched a wild card spot and made the playoffs for the
That was very cool
first
for them.
time since either one of us were born,
It's been a
which
while.
it's been a long time.
It's
And
always fun to see a really long drought broken.
they're looking to run it back with extensions to guys like Luis Castillo, trading for Teoscar Hernandez. They have an insane bullpen and just
Yeah.
pitching overall, the depth of their starters. You have a rotation of Castillo, Robbie Ray, Logan Gilbert, and George Kirby coming up. And the five, you can pretty
Yeah.
much throw whoever out there. And their bullpen is nuts too, with guys like Paul Sewald, Andres Munoz, Diego Castillo, Justin Topa. From top to bottom, it seems like the Mariners will throw out a competitive arm no matter what point in the game it is. And that's going to be crucial, especially throughout the season and when you get into October, because I'm counting on them being back in the wild card race.
And I honestly perfectly agree with that because we've talked about the importance of pitching, and we also know we've already seen it in so many organizations so far this year of what can happen when that injury bug hits you. And I will say, I can almost guarantee you that at some point the Mariners will face some amount of that in their roster, but they have the
Well, they
depth to
already have,
counteract that. Yes, they already have, but they have the depth to counteract it. And
for
that's going to
sure.
be huge, essentially down the stretch. And then once you get into postseason play, like you said, pretty much anybody you put out there, if they are to make it, which I believe that they should, is going to be really huge for them. So, if they can figure out, the offensive side of the ball and start putting some, consistent runs on the board, it'll put their pitching in an even better situation to hold on to games. And we could see them push for potentially another 90-win season.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Mariners to kind of sum this up. On paper, they're an incredibly well-rounded team. Their starters are
Yep.
good, their relievers are good. On paper, that lineup is good, but that lineup doesn't always produce. It's a really
Yeah.
streaky offense, especially how they've been starting this season. So once
Yeah.
they get going, the Mariners are a dangerous team, but they just need everything to click at the right time.
Yeah.
The final team we have in the AL West is the Texas Rangers. And
Whew.
last
Talk about some moves.
offseason was the offseason of the hitter. This offseason was the offseason of the pitcher because they nabbed three big names off the market: Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney, and most importantly, Jacob deGrom. They threw a big
He finds another new
contract
home.
his way, which we have yet to see how he's going to play out because he hasn't gotten hurt yet.
Not yet.
Not
Don't
yet.
jinx him for please.
That's the big thing. The Rangers are incredibly top heavy. They have a lot of star talent with guys like DeGrom and Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon. They're a top heavy team, but they need the supporting cast to step up in order to be a competitive team. They also need to fix the bullpen because when you look at the 8th, 9th inning guys, you have guys like Ian Kennedy, Will Smith, Jose Leclerc. It's kind of like, meh. It's a similar.
You don't have a guys that
it's a very similar situation to what the Angels are in.
Yeah,
I feel like those two teams are built very similarly, where they've went out and gotten pitching. They have their star power in the lineup. Their bullpen isn't very good. and they're not looking to compete for a wild card spot this year. They're still trying to build something while they still have the chance. I just feel like the Rangers, their building window is a lot bigger than the Angels are at the moment.
Yeah, and I'd say the difference with the Rangers is the Rangers, they dished out contracts to get some of like this star power. Obviously, with the Angels, you talk about some of the homegrown with Otani and Trout, but with the Rangers, they were willing to dish out some pretty hefty contracts to a lot of these guys, and I think that's what led them to be so top heavy. The question is how can they build those pieces around them? And I think they definitely do need to figure out a couple of things, especially with that bullpen, like you were talking about. But I think that they are definitely set for significant improvement this year, at least as long as they can keep their guys healthy. DeGrom's going to be huge for them if he can stay healthy. But they definitely are making a push to actually build something down in Texas for the first time in a while. I'd say, as far as I can remember, it's probably pushing back to mid to early 2010s since they've had some real significant lineups.
Yeah. And this Rangers team is bound for improvement. There's no way they're going to lose
They
94
couldn't get a whole lot
again.
worse.
Yeah, I completely agree. But that's all we got for our American League West season outlook. If you haven't seen the rest of the season outlooks, we have the Easts and the Centrals to do. We have one more at the NL West. Stay tuned for that. But if you want more from us, we have lots of other stuff on the channel, college basketball, NFL, and so much more. Like and subscribe for more. And until next time, we out.